All right, this is 10.3, operations with radical expressions. What is the simplified form of each expression? Now, you'll notice that there is either addition or subtraction in between the radicals. In order to add or subtract radicals, you have to have a like radical, or in other words, you have to have the insides as the same. So you see the 11 and the 11 there are both inside the radicals. That means you can add or subtract them. So you add or subtract the outside numbers, which would give you 15 square root of, keep the inside the same, which is 11, and your final answer would be 15 square root of 11. On the bottom one, check to see if the numbers inside the radicals are the same. They're both a 3, so we can subtract them. The number out front here is a 1, so 1 subtract 5 would be negative 4. Keep your inside number the same, which is 3. On this one right here, 7 subtract 8 would give you negative 1, square root of 2. All right, a little bit harder. Now, I notice that there's subtraction in between, so I want to see if my radicals, or the number inside this square root, are the same. I have the number 3, I have the number 12. They're not the same. Now, before I just say I'm done, I have to break them down, or check to see if I can break them down. 5 square root of 3. The square root of 3 cannot be broken into a perfect square, but 12 can. 12 breaks up into 4 and 3. All right, so in other words, I'm going to be taking 5 square root of 3, subtracting 2 square root of 3. Now let's check to see if I can subtract those. Since my inside numbers are the same, I can subtract. 5 minus 2 would give me 3 square root of 3. A little bit different with this one. We have the square root of 10 times the square root of 6 plus 3. Now this is distributive property where we take first times first. We are no longer adding and subtracting as our first step. We're multiplying. When we multiply, we take outside times outside, so 1 times 1 gives us 1. Now inside times inside. The square root of 10 times square root of 6 is square root of 60. Most people leave this 1 off on the front, so I'm going to do that as well. First times second. My outside number is 1. My outside number is 3. 1 times 3 is 3, so I'll put a plus 3, square root of. Now the only number that I have inside the square root is 10, so I'll just bring that over. Before I say I can be all done with this problem, I have to break it up to see if maybe I can add them together. 60 breaks up into 4 times 15. And 10 can't break up into a perfect square. Now I notice I have 15 and 10 as my inside numbers. Since they're different, you cannot add them together. This would be your final answer. All right, this is the complete FOIL method where you take first times first. Outside times outside gives you 1 times 1, which is 1. Inside times inside, 6 times 6 is square root of 36. Outside times outside. 1 times 1 gives me 1. Inside times inside, 6 times 3 gives me 18, so I'll put a plus, square root of 18. I'm actually going to leave a little bit more space in between because a lot of these can be broken up, and I need just a little bit more room to work with. Okay, inside times inside. So now, when I take negative 2 times 1, I get negative 2 square root of 3 times 6 gives me 18, and last times last. Negative 2 square root of, and if I take the inside times inside, 3 times 3 gives me 9. Okay, now before I can add or subtract, I want to break down everything. So the square root of 36 turns into a 6. 18 breaks up into 9 times 2. The square root of 9 turns into a 3. The square root of 2 gets brought down. Very similar with this one, 9 and 2. But this time I have to remember to bring down the negative 2 first. The square root of 9 turns into a 3. And I bring down the square root of 2. This one here, I bring down the square root of 2. I bring down a 3. The square root of 9 is 3. All right, so let's do a little simplifying here. I'd have 6 plus 3 square root of 2 minus 6 square root of 2 minus 6. Some things can be put together, some things can't. If you have a positive 6 and a negative 6, that just equals 0. So really, they just go out. Let's put together our radicals. If the inside numbers are the same, we can add or subtract them. So I see a 2 and a 2. That means we can subtract them. 3 minus 6 is negative 3 square root of 2. And that one's done. And that should be it for 10.3.